Hi everyone, it's John Mitchell. We're continuing on with our videos on the management skills. The next skill we're going to look at is leading, which is the ability of a manager to inspire, influence and motivate people towards the achievement of business objectives. We've spoken before about business objectives and how that provides the employees or the business direction. Now what a leader does is tries to get all those employees on board with that direction or that objective, and then inspire and motivate them to work hard towards that objective. So good leadership leads to improved morale and the achievement of objectives, because the employees really start to believe in the objective that they're trying to achieve, therefore they're going to work hard towards it. Now good leaders need to be really good communicators. They need to be able to communicate what the objective is, but also the importance of the objective, and listen to and two-way communication, so able to listen to feedback and concerns from the employees also and take those things on board. They should be able to provide support for the employees. You've got to remember that some objectives will be really difficult for some employees. They may be fearing job security or fearing whether they can actually work towards that objective, and so providing support for those employees and looking out for them can help motivate them towards that objective. They act as a mentor. They help resolve disputes if they arise. So a really good leader will act fairly in a dispute and listen to the concerns of whoever the two disputing parties are, and then try and rectify that as quickly as possible so that they can get the employees back working towards the achievement of objectives. They encourage and support those employees and also show confidence in the cause, so that whatever the objective is, if they show the confidence, that can then filter through the rest of the employees. So the next skill is decision making. It's the ability to select the most appropriate course of action from a range of alternatives, and it's really important that you put that range of alternatives there. It's not just saying, well, we've got one alternative and we're going to make a decision. That's not really decision making. It's being able to look at a situation, come up with a range of alternatives that on what a decision can be made, on how a decision can be made, and then choosing the best course of action from that. So decision making can be completely the manager alone making decisions, or it can be part of a group. So in the previous videos we've spoken about the different management styles and how the decision making is made within those management styles, and obviously that's really closely linked here with decision making. Decisions can have a major impact on the success of the business, so it's really important that the manager tries to use or make the best decision possible with the information available to them, because some decisions may not have a major impact on the success or failure of a business, but some obviously do, and it's really important that they make strong decisions and utilize the information that they have available to them. It's important that you know a decision-making process. Again, similar to some of the other processes we've been through, there is no specific process listed in your study design. However, this is a really common one. So first of all, looking at the actual issue or problem on what a decision needs to be made about and being clear about what that is. Gathering information, so a wise decision or an informed decision can be made. Developing the alternatives to sort of come up with the best solutions or alternatives on which direction and which decision can be made. Analyze each of those for the strengths and weaknesses, and then choose the best one and implement that, or actually make the final decision. And then, as always with most of our processes, we're looking to evaluate and gather feedback to see if the final decision that's been made has actually solved the problem or issue. The next skill, and the final skill that we need to go through, is interpersonal skills, which is the ability to communicate with a range of people and develop positive relationships. So it's really closely linked with communication, however it is a little bit different. So communication is about the transfer of information from a sender to receive, and interpersonal is about that, but it's also about the development of the positive relationship so that the communication can be more effective. So having really good interpersonal skills allows the manager to communicate accurately and honestly, however maintain strong relationships. So if the manager has been able to use interpersonal skills to build relationships, then it's more likely that who they are communicating to is going to take that information on board. Also, even if it is possibly negative information that they're providing, so if they're unhappy with an employee, if they've built a strong relationship, first of all, the employee is more likely going to take that on board, as I said before. However, it's the way it's also delivered. So the way in which the message is delivered and how they communicate with the employee, that can still help build and maintain on the relationship, which obviously can be a really positive thing, which helps build a strong culture and where relationships are valued within the business. So that is a really important skill to use. Now, the last thing we need to know in this section is the relationship between the management styles and the management skills. Now, depending on the management style that is used will depend on the skills that are relied heavily on. So I've got an example here. Let's say an autocratic manager. They're obviously going to use communication as all of the management styles do, but they're going to rely heavily on one-way communication. They're going to rely heavily on the delegation of tasks. So they're using the skill of delegation, but they're delegating tasks, not responsibility as such. Also, the decision making. All of the management styles use decision making, but with an autocratic, they use centralized decision making, and also they would rely heavily on planning, but they would be doing the planning themselves as setting those objectives. Whereas if we look at a more participative management style, they'd be looking at two-way communication. So again, using communication, but it's how it's used that's a little bit different. And then delegation of tasks, but also delegation of authority and responsibility to the employees. They would rely heavily on interpersonal skills, that real building of relationships so that the communication can be more effective. And also they would rely heavily on decision making. However, with a participative management style, it would be decentralized decision making. So depending on the style that is being used by the manager will then reflect the type of skills that are used, but also the way in which they're used. So as I said there, autocratic and persuasive, that's sort of one-way communication. Consultative and participative will rely on two-way communication. And there's some other examples there for you. So just to summarize, the management skills and the study design that we've gone through in the last two videos are communication, delegation, planning, leading, decision-making, interpersonal. Make sure you know, so for example, planning, the levels of planning, and also a planning process, and along with a decision-making process, and you know all those little intricacies. And also ensure that you understand the relationship between the management styles and the management skills that a particular manager will rely upon. So for questions, activities, and to find out more about our second exam preparation lectures, then come on over to teachingbubble.com.